you work with the best broadcast booth in baseball, Gary, Keith, and Ron. How have they made you a better broadcaster? I mean, they seem so easy to work with, and Gary is just the best in the business that he's had to make your broadcast game better.
So, can I tell you something? I'm so glad you asked that question because I like to tell this story a lot, and I don't really get asked about it that much. But I honestly feel like if I didn't just, in a lot of cases, land in the right place at the right time, um, get to SNY as soon as Kevin was leaving and just get the opportunity, I don't think I would be even half of the broadcaster that I am. Early on, I would do stories, and if they didn't like it or it wasn't interesting to them, they wouldn't react to it. They just continue on with the game. And I was, a little thrown in the beginning, and you start to realize very quickly that you have to raise your level if you want to get that respect on and off the air. And I did, I really did. And I think it took a few years, quite frankly, for me to reach the point that I needed to reach to go toe to toe with them and to understand how I best fit in, to understand, the broadcast is very different when it's the three of them versus when it's just Gary and Keith versus when it's just Gary and Ron, right? Keith is certainly very different than Ron is. And so you have to know what fits in the right moment at the right time, what questions to ask, what things might be interesting to them. And I just think that, oftentimes people can be too nice and too, I don't want this to come off wrong, but like, they were very nice. They were very welcoming. That's not the issue, but they demanded that I bring it. And I think a lot of times people will say, "Oh, that was great," or "That was a wonderful story," this and that, when they don't mean it. And maybe they'll say something behind your back, or that's not them. You know where you stand with them at all times. And I cannot be more grateful for being a part of that group, because it's just, it's been a real education. It's been like going to grad school at the best graduate school in the country.